Hello everyone, and welcome to my BNB Update 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The soft hum of the Los Angeles morning filtered through the open balcony doors of the Cliff House, but the warmth that usually filled the home of Dr. John Finn Finnegan and Steffi Forrester was gone. What had once been a sanctuary of laughter, playtime with Hayes, and whispered I love yous before work had become eerily silent. Steffi looked out the window at the crashing waves below with a slight hand trembling behind her. The pregnancy test remained on the bathroom counter, a small plastic stick containing a secret that threatened to demolish everything she and Finn had constructed. She had tried to tell herself it wasn't possible, that it had to be wrong, that maybe it was just stress or hormones. But there it was, two bold pink lines positive. She was forced to face the truth as a result of those lines. With his white doctor's coat still half draped over one arm, Finn entered the living room. He smiled gently and said, "Hey, babe," which always warmed her heart. "Are you okay? You haven't spoken all morning." Steffi turned her throat, tightening to put off this issue for a little while longer. She wanted to say yes, while pretending nothing had changed. However, the truth was gnawing at her heart when she realized that the baby she was carrying might not be Finn's. Her world had already begun to fall apart. She began in a soft, trembling voice, "Finn, there's something I need to tell you." Sensing her heavy tone, he halted in mid-step. "You're scaring me. What is happening?" She drew in a shaky breath and pressed her hand against her stomach, the gesture instantly making his eyes widen. He began, his voice trembling with hope. Are you pregnant?" Steffi raised her eyes as she nodded. "Yes, I'm pregnant." For a moment, pure joy flashed across Finn's face. He ran toward her, took her in his arms, and softly laughed as he kissed her head. "Steffi, that's fantastic. We're going to have another child." "Oh, my God!" His hands gently rested over hers on her belly. "Hayes will become a big brother." However, she didn't smile. She didn't laugh. She didn't move at all. Her silence hit him like a wall. Finn pulled back slowly as his joy was replaced by confusion. "What's wrong?" "Wait." Steffi's tears spilled over, "because it might not be yours." The words landed like a thunderclap. Finn froze. The air knocked out his lungs, as if he had been punched. His hand slipped out of her stomach. What do you mean? "It might not be mine." Steffi turned away, her voice cracking under the weight of shame. Something happened. Finn, something I did not anticipate. Something I prayed to God could be reversed. He stepped back, his pulse pounding. Steffi explained the situation to me. She turned her eyes pleading for forgiveness before the confession even left her lips. "It was during that week when we were apart, when I thought you had gone back to the hospital to cover shifts, but you were actually staying late because of those emergency cases." She gulped hard as she felt so alone. "Liam came over." "Liam," Finn repeated, his tone hollow, as if the name itself was poison. "You're saying he couldn't finish the sentence." "It was an error," she cried, stepping forward. I was emotional, and we started talking about Kelly, about how things used to be, and one thing led to another. "Finn, I never intended for it to occur. I swear not to have." He backed away from her, as if she were radioactive. He whispered, disbelief permeating every syllable. "You slept with Liam. You slept with him again. After everything we've been through, and everything we've said about trust and loyalty." Steffi broke down sobbing. "It was one night. I thought it was over between us. I thought you were pulling away, and Liam was just there, but I never stopped loving you. Finn," you have to believe that Finn's face contorted with anguish. "You said that the last time, Steffi, remember when Hayes was born and we had to do that paternity test, because you weren't sure who the father was. I forgave you then because I believed you, because I thought we'd moved past all that." But now his low, raw voice cracked. "Now we're right back where we started." The memory burned through them both years ago. They had faced the same nightmare when Steffi's affair with Liam had thrown her future into chaos. Back then, Finn's love had been strong enough to weather it. However, this time was different. This time, it wasn't just history repeating itself. It was proof that some wounds never truly healed. She whispered, "I was going to tell you sooner, but I needed to be sure. I just took the test this morning." Finn's jaw tightened. And how much longer until we discover the father Steffi is a hated? I have already contacted the physician. They said we can do a paternity test in a few weeks. Finn's eyes got darker a few weeks. You expect me to live under this roof, look at you every day, and not know whether the baby you're carrying is mine or Liam's? I don't want to lose you. Steffi pleaded, please don't let this destroy us. But Finn turned away, his heart breaking with every breath. You already destroyed us. Steffi. Finn didn't come home that night. His thoughts spiraled as he drove through the city for hours. How many times could he forgive her? How many times could he watch her make the same mistake and still convince himself that she was his forever? Every flash of memory, Steffi's smile, Hazel's laugh, the way she'd whispered, I love you before falling asleep, felt tainted now. He ended up at the hospital, sitting in his office long after midnight, staring blankly at his phone. Liam, the man who had haunted every corner of his marriage, the man who, no matter how many times Steffi claimed to have moved on, always seemed to return to her life. Steffi, on the other hand, was sitting on the floor of Hayes' room at the Cliff House, clutching one of his small stuffed bears. She felt the baby inside her, her baby, innocent and undeserving of the chaos surrounding it. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered, I'm so sorry, little one. The scandal had already begun to spread when the sun rose. Hope Logan had come to see Liam early that morning, only to overhear him on the phone with Steffi. You told Finn with fear. Liam's voice trembled. Steffi, this changes everything we need to talk. Hope entered the room with a pale face. What changes everything? Liam? He turned his mouth dry. Hope, this isn't what you think. Don't lie to me. She said sharply, I heard Steffi's name. What's going on? There was no way out. Liam spoke, barely audible as he closed his eyes. Steffi is expecting, and it might be mine. The entire world appeared to stop. Hope's vision became hazy. No. Liam, please assure me that this will not occur again. I didn't mean for it to, he insisted. It was just one night. She and Finn seemed finished to me. I thought we were all moving on. Hope wept quickly and intensely. Liam, you've been saying that for a long time. Everything we built is destroyed each time you return to her, and now you've done it again. The confrontation between Hope and Liam echoed through the Spencer Wyatt and even Bill, who entered mid-argument, his voice booming with authority. What in the world is happening here? Your son got Steffi pregnant. Hope snapped. Incredulity grew in Bill's eyes. You've got to be kidding me. With a shrug of shame, Liam muttered. Wish I was. Bill shook his head, pacing the room. Liam, you're going to lose everything, Hope. Finn's respect the Forrester's trust. Are you aware of the devastation that this will bring? Hope was already halfway to the door. I'm finished this time. I'm really done. Meanwhile, at Forrester Creations, Ridge and Taylor arrived to find Steffi sitting alone in her office, looking pale and hollow. Taylor immediately sensed something was wrong. Honey, what took place? Steffi looked up at them, her lips trembling. I'm pregnant. Rich smiled faintly at first, but that smile faded when he saw Taylor's concerned expression. Wait, this isn't good news. It's complicated, Taylor said quietly. Steffi took a breath. It might not be Finn's baby. Ridge's jaw hit the floor. What do you mean by possibly not being who else? Taylor touched his arm, already knowing it is. Liam. Ridge burst open. Spencer. Liam again. He hit his hand against the desk. You did this again. After everything Finn has done for you and this family. Tears streamed down Steffi's face. I didn't make it up, Dad. It was just one night. I was lost in Rich. Snarled. No, you were selfish. You keep saying you're not that girl anymore, that you've grown, but here we are. Same story. Same pain. You're about to blow up your family all over again. Taylor gently intervened. Ridge, please. She has already punished herself sufficiently. But Ridge wasn't listening. Do you have any idea what this will do to Finn Hayes' way to the entire family's reputation? Steffi whispered through her sobs. I'm going to take the test. I just need time. Taylor had to comfort her daughter, while Ridge stormed out, shaking his head in disbelief. We'll get through this. Taylor whispered, no matter what happens, we'll face it together. Days passed, each one heavier than the last. Finn decided to stay with Lee rather than go to the Cliff House. and Lee immediately noticed Finn's distress. Something happened with Steffi, Lee stated bluntly. Finn nodded. She's pregnant. Lee smiled faintly. That should be wonderful news. It should be, he said bitterly, but it might not be mine. Lee froze. You mean Liam? Finn said coldly. The same man with whom she cheated on me prior to Hayes' birth. The same man she vowed would never again be viewed in that manner. Lee's face became rigid. John, you deserve better than this. She has no regard for your loyalty. Finn's eyes watered. Mom, I love her. I love her so much that it hurts to breathe. His shoulder was touched by Lee. Then you have a choice. You can either walk away from her before it destroys you, or forgive her once more and live with the uncertainty. The paternity test day arrived. Finn showed up at the doctor's office in silence, his face unreadable. Liam was already there, fidgeting nervously in the waiting room. Steffi came in last and wore sunglasses to cover her red eyes. Nobody talked. The nurse called their names, and they went through the motion swabs, paperwork, signatures. The silence was suffocating. When it was done, Finn turned to Steffi. You know what I want? He merely inquired. I want to regain my faith in you, but I don't think I can. She whispered. Please don't say that. I'm still your wife. Maybe in name, he said, voice breaking, but not in spirit. She was shattered when he left. 2 days later, the results came in. The envelope was like a ticking bomb in front of Steffi as she sat at the kitchen table. She'd already called Finn, but he hadn't answered. Instead, she dialed Liam. She said quietly, come over. The outcomes are here. They opened the envelope together when he arrived. Steffi was barely able to break the seal because her hands were shaking so violently. She read the words once and twice before putting the paper down. Liam picked it up, his eyes scanning the page. He froze. Oh, my God. Having changed his mind and rushing home to confront the truth. Finn entered at that exact moment. What does it say? He questioned, his voice shaking. Steffi caught Liam's eye. You ought to inform him. Steffi shed a few tears as she looked up Finn. It is not yours. The room stopped talking. Slowly. His heart broke as Finn stumbled back. He said in a whisper, so it's his. The baby is Liam's. I'm so sorry. Steffi sobbed. I wish I could change it. The entire body of Finn shook. Steffi, you promised me. You swore that you would never hurt me again in this way. I stood by you in front of everyone, including my mother, and for how much so you could once more destroy me. Please don't walk away. She begged, reaching for him. He pulled his hand away sharply. Steffi, you didn't just lose me today. You lost my trust. You lost the life we built. He turned and walked out, slamming the door behind him. In the days that followed, chaos rippled through Los Angeles. The families of the Forrester Logan and Spencer all took sides. Ridge was furious at Liam Hope, who was devastated, refused to take Liam back despite Brooke's efforts to comfort her. Steffi had Taylor by her side, guiding her through the emotional storm as she dealt with public scrutiny and personal guilt. Hayes accompanied Finn as he vanished from the spotlight and spent some time at Lee's reporters outside the hospital whispered about his breakdown. His colleagues noticed a change. He was quieter, more detached, more haunted. Lee found him sitting by himself by the ocean one night. You still love her, she said softly. Love doesn't just vanish. However, I doubt I will ever be able to look at her the same way again. Lee exhaled. Then maybe it's time to stop saving everyone else and start saving yourself. The author states Steffi stood on the same cliff where everything began. A few weeks later, as she gazed out over the water, the wind whipped her hair and her belly was beginning to show behind her. She could hear a voice, beautiful view. Finn said, quietly. She turned surprised you arrived. He gave a nod. I required closure. Tears filled her eyes. I never ceased to love you. His expression was soft, but sorrowful as he looked at her. I trust you, but there are times when love isn't enough. She moved in closer. Then what should we do next? Finn saw the horizon from the window. We continue, maybe separately. However, when the agony passes, I hope we can recollect the good times we had before the lies. Steffi wept into her hands as she broke down. I apologize, Finn. I destroy everything he slowly left. leaving her alone with her unborn child and the haunting echo of what could have been on the cliff with the sound of the waves crashing beneath her. Steffi Forrester and Finn Finnegan's story, once a shining example of love triumphing over all, came to an end, not with betrayal, but with heartbreak that neither of them could recover from. And as the camera panned across the ocean, the final image was Steffi touching her belly, whispering, "I'll make it right somehow." But in the world of the bold and the beautiful, somehow always means that there will be another secret, a new twist, or another heartbreak. Steffi experienced some of the darkest times in her life following Finn's departure. The once vibrant, confident woman who ruled the Forrester Creations runway with power and poise now found herself consumed by shame and regret. The woman she used to be was barely visible in her reflection in the mirror. She had lost the sparkle in her eyes and was now overcome by exhaustion and a heavy sense of guilt that hung over her like a shadow. Forrester Creations halls were no longer her escape. They were filled with whispers, stares, and quiet judgment. Everyone knew the information had somehow leaked despite her desperate efforts to contain it. Steffi's pregnancy had been confirmed by a source close to Forrester's, and even though no one dared confront Steffi face-to-face, rumors spread behind closed office doors. Thomas was the only individual who steadfastly supported her. "Don't listen to them," he told her, his jaw clenched. "You made a mistake, but you're still my sister. This family has been yours for many years. You're not the bad guy here." Steffi lost her voice as she sighed. "Maybe not, but I think I am. Finn lost his heart to me. Also hopes I tore two families apart again." Her shoulder was gently stroked by Thomas, then corrected by taking responsibility for what you did not by attempting immediate forgiveness. That is how you begin. However, it appeared impossible to fix. Finn did not return her calls, texts, or even tailor directed messages. Lee had made sure of that. Lee had always been polite to Steffi, but now her tone was pure ice. Steffi met Lee instead of Finn when she went to the hospital one afternoon to talk to him during his break. Doctor, without even looking up from her clipboard, Lee stated flatly, "Finnegan is not available." Steffi pleaded softly, "Lee, please, I'm not here to wreak havoc. I just want to talk to him." Lee finally gave a sharp look up. "Steffi, you've talked enough when no one else did. My son put his faith in you after your most recent betrayal. He brought you back. What now? He has been humiliated in public by you." Steffi mumbled, "I didn't mean to hurt him. It was one night. One night was enough to destroy everything." Lee snapped, "He's barely eating, barely sleeping. He's a shell of himself. That's what happened with your one night." Steffi's eyes filled with tears. "I simply want to make things right." Lee said sternly, "Then leave him alone. Give him peace if you love him." The words were piercing. Steffi made a U-turn and turned away, her heart breaking with each step. Finn, on the other hand, tried to work himself to death, anything to distract him from the devastation of his personal life, including long shifts and emergency surgeries. He was unable to escape her, though, even in the chaos of the hospital, when he saw a patient with dark hair, he thought of Steffi hear a baby's heartbeat during a prenatal check, and remember what it felt like to imagine their family growing. He found himself staring at a desk picture of him, Hayes, and Steffi smiling on the beach one night after a particularly exhausting trauma case. His throat tightened. He could almost hear her laugh again the way she used to run into his arms like he was her whole world. He intended to despise her. He wanted to erase her, but he couldn't because he knew deep down that he loved her despite everything. He was even more broken by this realization. When he got home that night, Lee found him sitting on the couch staring blankly into space. "You saw her today, didn't you?" she merely inquired. He gave a nod. "She came to the hospital." Lee raised both arms. "I told her to leave you alone. Tired." Finn looked up. "You shouldn't have done that, Mom." Her eyes got smaller. "Excuse me," he said with a low voice. "I needed to hear her. I needed to see her one last time to understand if I could ever forgive her. You can't protect me from that." Lee sighed. "And could you please pardon her?" Finn stared out the window. "I don't know part of me wants to, but another part of me can't even look at her without seeing Liam." Lee's tone softened slightly. "Then maybe time is what you need. Not resolution, not in conflict, just time." Steffi tried to concentrate on her pregnancy once more at the Cliff House. Taylor insisted on temporarily moving in to assist her, No matter what Ridge or the general public thought, the older woman was determined to support her daughter. During a quiet morning, Taylor found Steffi sitting on the porch gently rubbing her belly. Taylor whispered, "You've got that far away. Look again." Steffi gave a sad smile. "I was thinking about when I found out I was pregnant with Hayes." Finn was so excited, he claimed that it was the best time of his life. Taylor gave a nod, and that memory doesn't have to be erased. "Honey, you can still honor what you had. However, you must also face the future." Steffi took a deep breath. "That's all there is. Mom, what comes next? I am unable to undo my actions. I cannot make fins for this infant. Additionally, I am unsure whether Liam wishes to be a part of this baby's life." Taylor hesitated. "Have you talked to Liam?" Steffi shook her head. "No. Since the results, Nadi's been trying to fix things with Hope or acting like they do." Liam's guilt had finally caught up to him at Spencer Publications. He sat in his office staring at a framed picture of Hope, and Beth Hope had been staying with Brooke and not returning his calls. So he hadn't seen them in days. When Bill walked in, Liam barely looked up. "Save it if you're here to lecture me again." Bill exhaled. "Son, I'm not here to lecture you. I'm here to tell you the truth. You need to take responsibility. This baby changes everything." Liam's jaw tightened. "You think I don't know that I'm serious?" "Liam, Bill said you're about to have another child. Whether Hope forgives you or not, that baby needs a father." The voice of Liam cracked. "How do I even begin to do that? Stuffy doesn't want me. Finn hates me, and Hope, who treats me like poison, looks at me.